I'm Trevor.
I'm Trax.
I'm Ken.
Welcome to the Red Squadron podcast. Welcome back to the Red Squadron podcast, guys. This is week 11. We've been really enjoying making these for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it just as much as we are making it. We got a lot of interesting topics for you today. Our first intro topic being our thoughts on Skeleton Crew, which just finished up a couple of weeks ago. I have a very positive review of it, but we'll start out with our guest star here, Ken, who's almost a regular these days. What were your thoughts on Skeleton Crew as a whole?
So I absolutely love Skeleton Crew. It's up there as one of my favorite just standalone shows that we've gotten from Star Wars, of all time even, maybe. For me, I think one of the big things was the attitude surrounding the show was really positive. It's very lighthearted, very adventurous, and it kind of reminded me of the way that I felt watching Star Wars growing up, where it's just this big open galaxy full of adventures and some scary things, but also a lot of really cool things.
Yeah, absolutely. Trevor, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think it's up there in projects that I like. I don't want to call it my favorite because I feel like that would be a recency bias, but I found myself like looking forward to Tuesday nights when it was coming out and wanting to stay up to watch those or catching it in the morning if I missed that. So I was really excited as it was unfolding. I think as a whole, it's like a new story, and it definitely feels like, again, how you felt as a kid watching it. Like one of the things that I wanted to make sure I talked about was, well, spoiler alert, but like one of the last scenes is when the X-Wing saved them from the pirates, and like Wim is looking up at this night sky, and like the X-Wing and like the cruiser. It's not Tantive, but that type of cruiser.
Is it a Corvette? No, it's not. I don't think it is.
Oh man.
I saw a TikTok on it earlier talking about what ship it was.
When he like looks up and it's like, I feel like you almost see the stars in his eyes and like the ships fly over. Like that's cool. That's what Star Wars is. So I can relate to Wim when it comes to that.
Yeah. And you talk about recency bias, so I'm a little worried about my take here. The series as a whole is actually my favorite Star Wars series they've come out with. There's parts of like the Kenobi series that I love. I didn't love the whole thing. But as a whole, I enjoyed almost every episode. I was never worried that they're going in the wrong direction. And it even surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually thought like John was going to turn like and help the kids, whatever. And he just never did.
Yeah.
I was like, that was like a genuine surprise where I was like, oh, you're not being predictable. This is new. I like it. I love seeing the B-Wing that showed up in Rebels. That was awesome, seeing the Republic forces come in. I thought it was new, original, and it was some of the best Star Wars we've gotten recently.
Yeah. I'm happy that SM-33 is alive, because I loved him as a droid, and like they killed him.
So many times though.
Yeah.
So many times. My favorite was when they were on the planet, and John finally turns on him and he's gonna try to escape.
Yeah.
Here he goes, SM-33 attack! He goes, aye, Captain! And he just gets killed. I actually laughed out loud. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, so like, I'm glad that he's alive. I think some other highlights for me were like, Jod. I still like, I was predicting and probably a little bit hoping that like he'd help the kids in the end.
Yeah.
Make the right decision. He never did. But like, I do want to be clear, I don't think Jod's evil, because I think he wants to be evil, like almost like a Dr. Doofenshmirtz, but he's not. That's an elite ball knowledge pull. Anyway, because like, you know, he's got all them at lightsaber point to the throat, and he could have killed them to stop them from breaking the barrier, and he was never willing to cross that line. He threatened it so many times.
I don't think he would ever kill the kids. I think he would have killed their parents.
Why didn't he kill Wim's dad then? Why would he have just taken him prisoner? He saw Wim's dad after he sent out the message, whatever it was, right? Disabled the ship's locking system. Yeah. That was holding the ship down. And then he like was shooting at him, and then he was like, "Your dad's here, Wim?" He's like, "Get over there!" Like, you would have killed him. Yeah, we've seen villains kill for far less in other shows and movies, right?
I suppose. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it really felt almost like he wanted them to prove him wrong, which made it a really satisfying character arc, seeing this really kind of cynical pirate go at the end and kind of have that moment where he's almost looking like he's smiling, watching the ship come down. It's good.
It's like he's watching his downfall and he's smiling. And I love seeing his back, like getting a little bit of knowledge about his force using ability. Yeah. And you actually do see that he's pretty weak in the force, especially in that last one. Like a full trained force user could have yanked that lightsaber right from
from Wim and
Fern.
No, Wim had it first though. I think.
Wim did.
Fern, Fern helped him.
A real Jedi would have just smashed that.
Yes.
You can tell he wasn't trained. I would like to know who trained him just for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get that though.
No. Do you guys think they'll tie it in now?
Oh, like the Republic and Atten, like to a bigger, larger storyline?
Yeah, because it's almost pretty hard to ignore now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they have so much money. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think you have to at this point. I was kind of hoping they didn't, because it's like, that's what was nice about it, is it didn't tie in. I mean, I think for us, some fans are complaining about that. I don't see that. I think you have to.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they go like an Omega route, where like they just, the next time we see Atten and the kids is when they're like late teen and they're like joining the Resistance to stop the First Order. Maybe otherwise I don't think you can play right off them being kids again. It's not like you can have a Skeleton Crew season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it would have to be, you can maybe bring those characters into the fold.
See, you know what's funny though? If you do tie it into the whole thing, the Republic had this much money and still had the First Order come up.
Yeah,
like, are you serious?
But that's tough. That's tough to explain and justify.
Mm-hmm. I was confused though. Like, was Atten always tied in with the Republic?
It was
in the past.
It was Old Republic.
It was Old Republic.
And I'm sure they like stayed Republic, but then obviously the last thing that they heard was orders. The Jedi had turned. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some breakdowns suggest that it was like meant to fit in High Republic era, and then just kind of went dormant and carried over into the future, which is really an interesting plot point.
Mm. I like seeing the Old Republic lightsaber. I thought that was sweet.
Yeah.
Which is, when we talked about spin-offs last week, I would love an Old Republic spin-off, like based off the video games.
Oh yeah, based off the video games.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Wasn't there's like in like the slate of rumored movies, isn't there like the First Jedi and like stuff like that? You guys heard that?
Yeah, I heard rumors about it.
They've been canceling shows left and right a little bit, so I don't know the status of it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's really in the formation, I guess, nowadays, but yeah.
Well, you guys got any final thoughts about Skeleton Crew? Maybe a message to the fans that haven't watched it? Anything like that?
If nothing else, watch it for SM33. Dude is a baller. Absolute best droid.
Yeah. KB was one of my favorite characters, but John, he's like, I'll wait a few weeks. He's like one of my top 10 favorite characters, I think. I really liked him.
Yeah.
So definitely give it a watch.
Yeah. Make sure you watch it. It's going to be fun. Like, and don't look for reasons to dislike it. Like, I got on Facebook the other day. First post in a while that I've seen about Star Wars, and it was about Skeleton Crew, and I think the first 20 comments were hating on it. Like, this is why, and this is exactly why Disney shouldn't have control, and this is why Star Wars sucks now, and this is how they ruined Star Wars. And I was like, if you are disliking this project, you're the problem. That might be a hot take. You're the problem. There's not much about this project to hate. It's from a kid's point of view. It's fun. It gives you some complex characters like Jod. Yeah. But it's fun. I think if you're finding reasons to dislike it, take a break from Star Wars. Come back if you are actually a fan of it.
And most hate comments that I see about it are like people just saying, "Oh, I'm not watching that." Yeah. And that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, you can't hate something you didn't watch. How do you know it's bad?
Yeah.
Disney has an okay track record at the very minimum. Yeah. So, but we'll be right back with our main topic, guys. We'll be talking about our favorite Clone Wars arcs. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you once again for joining us today. As we said, our main topic today is going to be our top 3 Clone Wars arcs. And kind of on that note, I believe Trax, you had something you wanted to say?
Well, yeah, in the intro topic, I said that the Skeleton Crew was like the best Star Wars show. I just wanted to be clear that's live action. Like Clone Wars is top of the top for me. So I just wanted to clear that up before I got roasted in the comments.
Very important to get that off your chest.
Yes, it was.
Keep your
as soon as I said that, I was like,
yeah, gotta keep your legacy and your
exactly
opinion right. So
exactly.
Okay. I believe, we each jotted down top 3. I think some of us maybe have honorable mentions and stuff for our top 3 Clone Wars arcs. And there are so many good arcs. I think we were actually like making sure we were doing our research and remembering all the arcs. And we're like, oh wow, there's a lot more than we thought there were or maybe remembered. So with that, Ken, what is your 3rd favorite Star Wars The Clone Wars arc?
So for my number 3, I chose an arc that, in a weird way, I'd almost kind of forgotten about because it's been a while since I rewatched Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But kind of reading through the list and going through the episodes, it reminded me of just how much I appreciate it. And that's actually towards the end of the series, the arc covering Yoda's travels after Qui-Gon's Force Ghost.
The Force Wills or whatever.
Or the Voices. One of the episodes called Voices or something.
Yeah. And I there's something about that I think is really magical, even for the Clone Wars. I'm like a big Old Republic fan, big fan of stuff that gets really into kind of the philosophy of the Force, what's good, what's bad, kind of the perceptions of it, and the mystical side to it. And I think that arc does a really good job taking a very grounded and important character in the series, and Yoda, and kind of putting him in this environment where he's kind of experiencing the Force in a new way, and kind of having to navigate his feelings with it, his feelings with how the Jedi are involved with the Republic and the war, and kind of that lingering feeling of darkness that there's always been throughout the prequels. And in that way, I feel like it ties in really well with everything that the prequels are about, and also kind of manages to be fresh and exciting and interesting, both in the way that it's presented through the animation and the storytelling. I think it's just a really good arc.
Yeah. I love that arc. I think one issue I had with it is it made it seem like Yoda knew Order 66 and Anakin's turn was kind of coming. I don't know if that hurt his legacy at all. What do you think?
It's tough because they really do hammer in him kind of having like those visions of what's to come and kind of the encounter with Palpatine chasing after the identity that make it feel like he was on the cusp of knowing. And I think that's part of why I could put this further down on the list, is that it does kind of feel like it was something that was written after the prequels as opposed to like naturally a part of it. But nonetheless, I do think it is a really good arc despite that little bit to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like most Force users have visions, but they're not all like true.
Yeah.
Like Anakin, and it's a rare ability, I feel like, for them to be true. Like Anakin's happened to be true, right? About his mom and stuff. So like in his defense, I think it's more of just like I feel like he's probably almost thinking like, this is like my worst possible nightmare. Not that it's even plausible.
Yeah.
It's not the best defense, but it's like, he's like, okay, the Jedi are dying. I don't think he didn't know the clones were involved. He didn't know who Palpatine was, stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm thinking he's just like, in his mind, like, okay, this isn't a real situation, but like the dark side could take over, maybe.
No, I see your point there, and I get that.
But yeah, great arc to start things off.
So my 3rd is from season 1, which I think most people put on the bottom of their season rankings.
Okay.
It is the Ryloth arc.
Oh, okay.
I love that one. You get a lot of diverse characters. You get to know Boyle and Waxer. We finally see a lot of Mace Windu, which I thought was really cool. When they're flying in to go attack Ryloth, and you see like the tactical droid.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like that's the first time you see a tactical droid and how smart they are and the tactics they're willing to use, like those beasts they use.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of ridiculous. And their willingness to use innocents as hostages, which is interesting. Fun action-packed arc, and you see a lot of Mace Windu's. He gets a lot of hate for not being the most caring Jedi, but I mean, he saved tons of clone troopers from that arc.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I feel like it doesn't feel like a season 1 arc. Maybe because, again, season 1 gets some hate of like how good it was, and that was a pretty good arc that I don't associate with season 1.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how early that was.
That was kind of the turning point for me in the Clone Wars shows. It was kind of like, it was good, and then this was like, okay, they're gonna start picking it up a little bit. Animation, I think, progressed throughout season 1 a little bit.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I was very happy with that.
Nice.
And it almost feels like being in season 1 and kind of seeing like the side of the separatist invasion on the planet and the people being held hostage.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one of those earlier points in the Clone Wars where they kind of start hinting at like kind of the severity of the war too. You get to see a lot of the people's perspective in that.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. For my third one, I actually had a really fun one. It was the D Squad arc. What Captain like Meager Gaston, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's just fun. It's funny. Like, and it introduces you to like Gregor, who's like an awesome character.
Yeah.
Like, really, first time you see a commando in action and how proficient they can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really think we see any until Bad Batch.
No, we do not. No.
I mean, you see Delta Squad
Mm-hmm.
in like just carrying a casket. I think it is in the Clone Wars or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see him in action and kind of the whole idea of like we're just really watching droids. Like,
yeah, no, it was like it is kind of fun. I mean, it's like
interesting.
You're just sitting there like, what am I watching right now?
Yeah,
it's like
they're in the void, and you're like, it's a fun watch. I don't know. I just think it's fun and it's underrated.
I love when they just start upgrading all the droids.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't you just have all the droids?
Yeah. Or at least like Jedi General's droids can be like that. And I think it's Colonel Meager Gaston. I think I said Captain. I don't know.
It's Colonel.
Yeah,
it is Colonel.
So, and then there was who was the droid that died?
Oh, I don't know. D4 maybe, I don't know. But yeah. Sacrifices were made for that mission. I actually was sad when that happened too. I was like, I'm caring about a droid right now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I'll just kind of go into my number 2. We'll go for it. Back and forth.
Yep.
Number 2 was the Umbara arc for me. There were so many arcs that like I really like. I love the Clone Wars, so like it's very hard for me to rank them, especially top 3. But the Umbara arc was brutal.
Yeah.
Right? Like so much death was going on. You lost was it Boyle or Waxer?
Are you talking about the one who went into the ship with 5s?
No. They kill when they're fighting.
When they're intertwined fighting. Oh man.
Waxer.
I want
to say Waxer.
Yeah.
But he dies, and you're like, oh my god, like I didn't even know he was on Umbara, and then all of a sudden they kill him because the clones are attacking each other because of Pong Krell.
You might be my most hated character, actually.
Hate him.
Yeah.
No, and is it Dogma? That was siding with Pong Krell all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Hated him.
Oh, yeah, because he was about to execute, he was the one who was going to follow through with the execution.
He was going to execute 5s and Hardcase and Jesse.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think Hardcase was dead. Hardcase is the one that died on the ship.
Yeah.
So, like, love the arc, lots of ups and downs. You get to see 5s in ARC Trooper fashion, and he's kind of the one that stands up to Krell first, I think, and then Rex kind of joins him. And the Anbarans, kind of like what you talked about, had really cool technology that we'd never seen before. And it felt like full-scale war, honestly, for the first time. I know there's like landing at Point Rain that had a lot of war, but this was like...
They were landing at night, too, which added a totally different element to it. I was like, oh my god. Like, I was actually scared for the... Like, if I had to be on that ship, I don't think I would get off.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
yeah.
I'm good.
There's the like plants that are like eat clones alive, and then there's the centipede thing just kill. Like it was brutal. It's got to be one of the worst campaigns out there. But as a fan, it was very fun to watch.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I can't believe Anakin
left him with Pong Krell.
Yeah, or like you don't think Rex would have like contacted Anakin and said like this dude straight up like. Or at least when they knew he had sent them to attack the 212th. You don't think he's calling Anakin and Anakin's just showing up and immediately folding Pong Krell? Like, I don't know. It just seems strange to me.
If Anakin fought Pong Krell, you're taking Anakin.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Especially because
I think so too. But
because the situation would be he's raged up because his troopers are getting killed.
Yeah.
Rex and 5s almost got executed. So like. I'm thinking he's coming. He's almost Nightfall Vader type.
Pong Krell was one of the most intimidating
lightsaber
users, though. Dual wield, 2x. And I was like, holy smokes. And it was nice to get another Dex character in there.
Yes. I mean, yeah, for sure. But I think you'd see Anakin using some dark side, so I think that would push him over the top. Anyway.
Yeah.
How would you have?
My number 2 is the Water Wars arc on Mon Cala. I don't know why I always go back and rewatch that. Yeah. I don't know if it's like the technology that they use. Like, I also love the clone trooper look. Seeing Anakin get his helmet ripped off and he's having to hold his breath on Riff Tamson, the shark villain. Yeah. I thought that was awesome. It was a little bit of a different twist. He was a little bit of an extreme for me sometimes.
Yeah.
But seeing Admiral Akbar was awesome. Seeing a little bit of his background. I'm not a huge fan of Princely Char.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Kind of killed Riff Tamson in kind of a cheap way, but whatever. Just a really cool arc. I don't know why I watch it so much. That's probably my second most rewatch.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like it gets a lot of hate. I really do. People hate on the water. I love it. It's a fun watch.
Kit Fisto's great.
Yeah. Get the Gungans in there, and as a kid, you're like, how are they going to come out, right? They defeated Prince Leechar and his army, and then the Republic shows up and sends reinforcements. You're like, okay. And then they get defeated. You're like, oh, now it's Raps. And then the Gungans show up. And you're like, okay, there's a lot of full scaleness going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
For as much ground as the Clone Wars covers, too, it feels like one of the most unique when you're watching. Because you don't really see a lot of that kind of engagement going on. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
I think.
You got Aqua Droids, Aqua Clone Troopers. It's just awesome. And then there's also the complexity of, like, homeworld, like, tensions between Separatists and Republic. And, like, that's a real thing. I mean, there are probably people on every planet who thought the Separatists were right. And to see that, like, come to fruition into a interplanet war was awesome to me.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool for sure.
Ken, you want to go with your number 2?
Yeah, so my number 2 is a little bit of a safe pick, but I went with the Order 66 arc, following our boy Fives, and man, it still hits hard watching it today, no matter how many times I've seen it. Just because you really, all throughout the series, the Clone Wars does such a good job of making you feel for the clones as their own individual people, and you just get so attached to the characters, and then you see them go through this moment where it's like, even though you know what's coming, and you know that Fives isn't going to be able to get the truth out there, he's still the underdog, so you're rooting for him, and it's just, I don't think there's any part of the Clone Wars that got at my heartstrings more than that, and it's still just so good.
I have a feeling that's your number 1, but I'll let you talk. I'll talk about it. I love that arc. Like you said, Fives is like the first clone we got to know a lot, and that's why he's your favorite character.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome arc. He couldn't reveal the plot, but I was still holding on to like a little bit of hope that he would somehow live through it. Whether that be like a memory, I don't know. I just wish he did somehow.
Yeah, it is my number 1 only because I feel like I look-y felt like I had to. Like, there's so many good arcs, and like I said, probably like my top 10 are all just honestly like ones for me. But like again, I have associations with the character, so I can't not pick his arc. But like for sure, I'm like guaranteed to cry or tear up when he dies. Like no joke. Yeah. Right? You like, it's sad, and makes Fox on the top of my hate list as well. Honk Brown, Commander Fox. Yeah. Like, because I get following orders. And I get following orders. He killed him, and then he wasn't around the circle mourning him when all your other squad was. I will say this: I was pretty angry with Anakin. Not a good leader at all.
And that's it?
No, really? Not a good leader at all. Oh. Why would he? Okay, you have your trooper who's clearly like dealing with something that has been very loyal to you, that you've been on numerous missions with, and he like traps you or whatever, has no gun near you, has no anything, and he says, I have to reveal a plot. And what does Anakin do? He meat rides Palpatine, so Palpatine wouldn't do that, all this stuff, and he's screaming at Fives, doesn't let him get a word out.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like, it should have been more of like when he was backing Ahsoka. Yeah, and then he has the audacity to like act real sad as soon as Fives is shot, and he's like, "Trooper, get this shield out," or like what?
if you're truly that sad about somebody passing, you would have put a little more effort to believe them and protect them, in my opinion.
Yeah. I always wonder why Fives was like going so crazy though. Like
because
I get it.
Because he was the only one in the room and Palpatine told him he was the Sith Lord.
I know, but keep your composure.
This isn't like galaxy-wide conspiracy. I don't know that you're gonna...
But if you're going off on a tangent and looking all crazy, like, if I saw somebody doing that, I'd be like, yeah, that guy's a little nuts.
Yeah, but you're not... Okay. He's asking to have a conversation with you and Jedi, and all the Jedi just let Palpatine do whatever he wanted. Even Shaak Ti didn't. I think Shaak Ti was like, "Well, I'll take him to the Jedi Council, and And then Palpatine's like, "No, I'll take him," or whatever, and she's like, "Okay." The Jedi very much disappointed me in that arc. Anakin was at the top of my list. Shaak Ti there, like,
how did they not feel some like unbalance? In him or something,
or look into it at all? Because like
Rex was the only one who would like actually.
Yeah. Well, he told Kix. He told Kix, and Kix, like I think it's in the comic books, like he gets frozen. Count Dooku like steals him because he could have uncovered any of the chips. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I just I was upset with Anakin, but it is at the top of my list. It's a great watch, keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it hits you at the end.
Who's the droid was always with him? I love that droid.
It's the same one that Omega has. AZ.
AZ. Yes, it is. AZ. That's right. I love AZ. Yep. Well, Ken, you want to go to your number one?
Sure. Number one was kind of a shoo-in for me. And for the same reason as my number 3 pick, number one for me is the Mortis arc.
Oh.
I am a huge fan.
I'm happy
of
you said that.
Like I said, I love anything that gets into that like philosophical, mystical side of the Force. And Mortis was, I think, the first thing we really got to see outside of, all the extended universe books and that kind of canon that really put it on screen for us and let us kind of get our claws into it.
Yeah.
I love the foreshadowing of Vader in that and Anakin's interactions with the brother. It's just chilling, so good. And I love also the way it draws the parallels between our 3 characters that we're seeing and, the 3 Mortis gods and kind of this back and forth between what's light, what's dark, what's balanced to the Force. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it was a great arc.
When I first watched it, I wasn't actually a fan of it.
I was too young.
Yeah, I think I was too young to really understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, the only scene I liked when I first watched it when Anakin was controlling the brother and the sister, and I was like, holy smokes, this guy's the chosen one. But other than that, like, Ahsoka's dark side version freaked me out a little bit, and I was like, I think I'm too young to be watching this. This is scary. But overall, I love that arc. The Mortis gods are really, really interesting. I want to see some more out of them. That's what we could have done for a spinoff.
Yeah,
the Mortis gods. Yeah.
Well, who knows with the Ahsoka series? There's some rumors.
I know they did show up. The statue showed up in live action. I should say. So that was pretty cool.
I'm excited for that. Fingers crossed we get more.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Trax?
I have one that I thought was a shoo-in to be on your guys' top 3s. I have the Siege of Mandalore from season 7.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's not on your top 3. I mean, I don't want to bash your top 3 too hard, but like, that is like, to me, that's it's the best Star Wars. It's up there in top 3. Like, if I had to rank movies and shows, like, just that arc could be top 3 for me.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I think, personally, we've had more time with these ones, though. This is still relatively new, but it benefits from that. Yeah. Like, more fleshed out characters, the acting, the quality, the storylines being progressed. Again, probably for me, like top 5, even top 10 are all just peak for me. Like, they're like, I don't think there's any differential, and that is in there. But I wanted to. It would for sure at least replace D Squad, but I was trying to branch out.
Yeah. Okay. Maul's dialogue with Ahsoka, some of the best dialogue I've ever heard in any movie or TV show. I was
hoping for Kenobi.
Yeah. But that is amazing. The animation took a huge step up, which was awesome. And I love that they brought Ray Park back to do the motion picture for Maul. And I think that created some awesome dueling. I told my brother, I was like, Maul versus Ahsoka is like top 2 lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's animated. I was like, I don't care. It's that good.
Yeah.
It's that good. And then obviously you have the final episode of that arc, and that hits really hard. Seeing Rex leave and all the clone troopers, like his brothers, and when he's tearing up, like I started tearing up. Like I was like, I felt for him big time. And it's just an emotional arc too. And it was the end of the Clone Wars. It was like a perfect end to the series.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for more.
No, I don't know objectively that it gets better than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of the most well-rounded, most well-made, great story, get you in the feels, arcs to date, and including live action stuff. So yeah, I can't argue with that. It's a great pick.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
We're going to talk a little bit about our least favorite arc, but we'll be right back with that. Welcome back. As promised, we're going to be finishing things off with our least favorite arc in the Clone Wars. Again, I think I like, to an extent, everything.
We enjoy it.
But there's certainly ones that I am not looking to rewatch a ton, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
the one I'm about to list, I only watched one time.
Yeah.
And it was the first watch.
Do you want to start then?
Yeah, sure. I mean, mine was Trace and Rafa season 7, right before the Siege of Mandalore. I mean, there was just so much excitement with season 7 coming out, and to have it be 4 episodes, and it just didn't tie in. We're not going to see Trace and Rafa.
Well, we did in the Bad Batch.
In the Bad Batch, yes, but like in live action, we're not going to see him again. And I didn't care for the Bad Batch episode with him either. So it's like there's just nothing really. The only consequential thing that happened is Bo-Katan showed up at the end of the last one. So there's just no meaning to it for me. Honestly, the most powerful moment is when they were leaving on the ship and Anakin senses Ahsoka. That was like the only moment I liked of that. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah. I had Trace. Did you have something different?
I did.
Okay, perfect. Then, it just wasn't exciting. I didn't think it fleshed. I think it was meant to flesh out Ahsoka. Didn't really flesh her out as much.
No.
I don't know. And again, there's something about the Clone Wars is returning. We're outside it, and they start with that. Felt like a miss to me.
Yeah.
Felt like a whiff. Okay, why are we learning about these two young ladies? Yeah. So maybe they are trying to set something up for them in the future. Otherwise, again, it's kind of like why?
And even if they do, I'll give it a chance.
Obviously. I'm not looking to rewatch most of them. I did like their episode of the Bad Batch, not necessarily because of them. Yeah. But I like the whole droid factory and blah blah blah. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's one of my least favorite. And also, that's recency, right? I've seen it more recently. Then I'm sure there's some season 1, season 2 arcs that aren't the best out there. But
we probably get more nostalgia with season 1 and season 2 than we do with this, for sure. So
yeah, that's honestly kind of what swayed me. I was this close to putting Trace and Rafa, but it was it's newer and it was part of season 7, so the jump in quality for that season kind of carried it a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I do think there were some earlier parts of the Clone Wars that, while they weren't bad, did not age as gracefully. And for me, one of those, I don't even know if there was a name for it because it was very brief. There was that arc where Jar Jar and Padme go to investigate the Rhodian senator that's
Rogue Jedi.
And it's one of those where it's not terrible, but anytime I've rewatched the Clone Wars and gotten to it, it kind of just takes me out.
Bro, but you get to see what he would. He is a Sith, but you get to see him act as a Jedi.
See, because he's doing everything accidental. Uncle Ono, I hated him. Turns out to be a semi-good character, but no, I agree. That's not... Animation was tough in that one, too. I'm not going to lie. But I still enjoyed it, but I agree. It's definitely lower tier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not planning on watching either of them anytime soon. I might be slightly more prone to watch that one before Trace and Rafa, but
fair.
Yeah.
But so I got a question for you guys. Do you watch your number 1? Is that your most rewatched arc?
I rewatched the 5s one a decent bit, I would say. I can't confirm that it's number one rewatch. Ahsoka leaves, Order 66. Those are all up there. Umbara's up there. Teacher Mandalorian's up there.
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same boat with mine. I've watched my top two, especially. I think there's some of my most watched parts of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I do struggle with it though, because I'm one of those people where it's like, when I get the itch to watch the Clone Wars, it just turns into rewatching the entire series.
Yeah. It's too long just to sit through. It'll take up too much time. We got stuff to do.
I do want to say, I think the best back-to-back ever is Ahsoka leaves into the Fives arc. I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah.
That's back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
They end, I think it's season 5
with
Ahsoka leaves. And they start. Imagine starting a season with the 5's Order 66 arc. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And they're on that one, like, orbit ring ship, right? When they start off.
Yeah. With the twin Jedi.
I forgot about that part. That was
Captain
awesome.
Horns.
Yeah.
Doom's company.
Yeah.
Like, back to back, that's crazy. And starting a season, killing arguably a fan favorite character, crazy work. But
yeah,
okay.
That was kind of crazy. You guys got anything else? Any honorable mentions that you guys want to make sure?
I think like you guys hit a lot of my honorable mentions, which I was hoping for, because I wanted to make sure the water arc got some love, like the Mortis arc, stuff like that. I wanted to give like some love to the Malevolence arc. I like that.
When we were looking at this Malevolence, people have it ranked pretty low.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. Sure, Plo Koon liked the clones. It was a deadly episode. You didn't know who was living or dying. I also saw again a ranking on Reddit, and they had Ahsoka's leaving pretty low. As in it's bad.
Huh.
That's a good arc. I mean, are you mad the whole time? Maybe.
Yeah, but
but that's how it's designed to be. That same Reddit post, I think they put the Zero the Hutt arc at the very bottom. Whereas that might be an honorable mention, worst one. I do not like Zero the Hutt as a character.
Oh.
She was the worst. Oh my gosh, I could not stand her.
Yeah. I would say, again, so many good episodes. The Box is a great arc, the Bounty Hunter arc. And then when Ahsoka's missing and the Trandoshans are hunting her, I love that. So there's just so many good ones.
There's so much content in the Clone Wars. I would, as long as you're not putting Zero the Hutt or Trace and Rafa at the top of your list, I really don't have a problem with it.
Is the Zero the Hutt arc the same as the Holocron heist arc? Because Zero the Hutt instigates that, doesn't it? Like when it's Cad Bane and his crew, and they take that Republic.
No, I think it's a different one.
Okay, good.
Because I think it's when they're chasing Cad Bane, Obi-Wan, and who's the?
Oh, Quinlan was it?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And
unfortunate because Quinlan's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. But okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's canon if he turned to the dark side or not. I know there's comics where he
did. There are, but I have no idea.
Yeah,
no idea. So that's it for me.
For me, well, good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yep.